Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining our webinar this morning. My name is David Howard. I'm the VP of Marketing for BuzzBoard. I have with me Philip Cortez, who heads up our training and community development here at BuzzBoard. He's going to step us through the demonstration. Just quick logistics. Feel free to throw some questions in the chat window. We'll be happy to take questions. If you'd rather not ask questions in an open forum like this, feel free to email me afterwards, david@buzzboard.com. And I'll be happy to schedule a one-on-one session with you if you'd like. And we are recording this, and we'll make the recording available to anybody who'd like to watch it later. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Philip.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that. When I first came across this platform called BuzzBoard, I was the Vice President of Marketing at Media News Group and Digital First Media's Tex-Mex operation, now defunct. I think they're owned by Gannett now, but still based in El Paso, Texas, and still very much using BuzzBoard. And I think one of the areas that I really gravitated to was my ability to find my ideal customer, to identify the right prospects. Because as a marketing person, obviously with lead gen, my head was kind of in that zone anyway. But from a sales standpoint, we have our sweet spots, right? I mean, we all know who we like to convert, who we have to convert, what categories we're looking for, what are the attributes of a business. And so for me, it was really vital to identify the right prospect for me. So let's get into it. BuzzBoard as a platform in itself is a big platform. It's pretty comprehensive, but I think that once people start rocking and rolling with that prospecting piece, everything is downhill. It really is. And so I was prospecting in the Fresno, Visalia, DMA the other day, but just to quickly show you how big this database really is. I mean, we have the ability to come in and look for businesses with URLs, business categories or keywords, but I'm going to leave that blank just to show you that right off the bat in the United States, I've got access to millions of records here, 12.1 million business records, as you can see, in the continental United States. And those are the businesses with websites. So as I toggle to neutral here, and this on the left-hand side is going to be all my filtering activity, well, then I know that I've got access to over 23 million, almost 24 million business records in the continental United States. Now, let me just, these are SMBs. That's what we really focus on. So for people who don't focus on small businesses, small to medium-sized businesses, and those are defined in different ways. If you're looking for large enterprise companies, we certainly have those too, but our sweet spot here at BuzzBoard is we really do focus on SMBs. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we've got the ability to look for B2B, we look for business to consumer or all. By default, we set that as all, but we definitely have access to millions of business records throughout the United States. Some people like to identify their prospects within a certain area. So if I'm casting a wide net here, I can get extremely granular, and I can come in and I can go 79936 El Paso, Texas. And as I can look, I have that 4758. So now I'm in a specific zip code, and I can look at opportunities where I am sitting right now. And of course, with websites is where we want to go. And in one fell swoop, I've got the ability to come in and look at, it's almost in half, right? The 2296 businesses in our database with websites here. Now, how are we able to do that with one toggle, right? If I neutralize this and go back to my 4758, how are we able to determine the number of business prospects within a geography? How many have a website? How many of them in this geographic location are running Google ads or Facebook ads? Well, what we're doing here is we're enriching these millions of business records. So if we go back and I take off these toggles here, and you'll see I've got 530 prospects that are running either Google ads or Facebook ads in this zip code. How are we able to do that? Well, what we're doing is we're enriching or updating these records, the 4758, and of course, the almost 24 million business records within our geography in the continental United States. We are absolutely enriching those and updating those every 30 days. It's that updating or enrichment that allows us to come in and start filtering and building that targeted list. So that if I'm coming in and I want to go state level now, and I can do DMAs, I can do state levels, counties, or of course, the whole of the United States, and I have the opportunity to absolutely do that here. So let's go to the state of Texas. And here I am coming in to look at the 1.8 million business records in the state of Texas in our website, in our database, excuse me, and with websites. I'm gonna, I think that's roughly half. That's kind of a trend. It's amazing how many businesses don't have a website. But as I'm identifying those businesses that I want to look for, this is my first stop. I want the ones with websites because I can build a bigger proposal with them. I can offer more digital solutions to those businesses. And from here, as I start to filter and as I started using this and really gravitating to the prospecting piece, this is where it got interesting, because for me, I really wanted to make sure that I was positioning myself in the best possible way. And whether we realize it or not, we want engagement. We want content as we look to talk to these people, because eventually we want to talk to them, right? We need to engage. So we'll identify, but as I'm identifying, I also want to start building my talk track or my engagement track, right? So you saw me going into advertising before, and let's do that again. And because we're able to update these business records via API through multiple data sources, I mean, just a lot of different data sources, I can come over here to a budget line for Google Ads, and here's our data source is SpyFu and SEMrush. Well, then I'm going to come in and I'm going to say, you know what, I want $10,000 a month. And I'm going to pick my range. I'm going to say $100,000 per month. And in the state of Texas, I've got, as I scroll down, 32,000 businesses that are spending at the very least $10,000 a month in Google Ads. So that tells me a lot right there. That means they've got budget and they've got belief. So if I'm selling, then obviously we don't want to start from zero. We don't want to start from scratch. All the context that we want to have is available as we filter. But I know that there's a budget and there's a belief here. So I don't have to convince anybody that advertising is necessary at this point. I can go and be very confident knowing that I can ask for as much money up front as I possibly can when I'm doing my job and trying to meet my goals. Okay. So here are the 32,000. But, some people need a valid business reason for calling them. I mean, it's one thing to start talking about stuff, but when we're looking for valid business reasons, we can absolutely do that. I mean, here's one perfect example as to how we want to do that, right? And so, David, how important it is to claim your business on Google. I think we can all have that conversation that if Google doesn't recognize you, you essentially don't exist. So that's a conversation, right? That's engagement that I can start leaning on and putting in my back pocket, right? For context, as I identify in this first stage here. But I've got the 6,600 businesses in the state of Texas that haven't done probably the first thing you should really do from a business standpoint, right? You need to claim yourself on Google. But they're spending money with Google. That's funny. So we kind of found the dog that chased the tail, right? Because in order to really be successful with Google, especially here, then you should probably be in alignment with their policies. That's always a best practice. And if you haven't done this, well, then that's really counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish. And so if I'm engaging with anybody, if I'm starting to develop my talk track as I start moving forward, well, it might kind of sound something along the lines of, hey, listen, I've identified potential, loss of market share, because see, if I can't find you, I can't click on you. And if I can't click, I can't buy. So that's a loss of market share on the digital side in a huge way. But as a result of, you doing this, I may have identified a potential waste of spend. Like your money might not be going as far as you think it is. Okay. So as we move forward and we start prospecting in a better way, let's just all understand that there's not one right way of prospecting or filtering and building a targeted list. Ultimately, it's going to be your way. We all have our sweet spots, as I said at the top of the call, as to who we want to talk to, who we're more successful converting, and how quickly we want to do it, right? So we can really put our foot on the gas and expedite our sales process in a major way when we do this. And that's what I learned through attrition. I wish it happened overnight in my old life, but as I was beta testing BuzzBoard, I quickly realized after a few weeks here that I was able to really put myself in a great advantage. Another area that everybody should always consider is social media. And we have different ways of filtering, right? So it's really important to me that I want to talk to businesses that believe in video. Because if you believe in video, I feel that you're pushing your content. I think you're pushing social media to the next level, absolutely. When you're creating your own content and uploading it to the second largest search engine in the world, but it's hard to get traction there. It really is. And if you're of the 4,900 that believe in that, believe in the video, believe in YouTube and have that content, let's turn around and start thinking about all the solutions that we sell that can maximize that video effort, right? From O&O, production, OTT, everything in between, depending on where you're coming from a business standpoint, you have solutions that are designed to maximize that content. We love the fact that they absolutely have budget and belief, but they also understand how important it is to communicate to an external audience. So much so that they're creating their own content and uploading it to their own channel where they might not be successful. And in fact, what I'm finding is that the majority just are not. They're using YouTube as a vessel, so to speak, just a place to kind of hold videos from broadcast or something else, but they can still do stuff there within the confines of that platform and of course outside of that platform. All right. David, did you want to add to any of that as we move forward?
Yeah, sorry, Phil. I know we have a lag on the audio here. I think just, as just watching this, I just really want to impress upon people the power of the filters that we have. No matter what your interest is in. If it's about video, we can zero in on that. And we just don't have time to show you the full capacity of all the filters. I'd really encourage folks to ask for a one-on-one demo or sign up for a free trial on the website at www.buzzboard.ai. And you can drill down into, you see Philip starting to open these up. You can see all the selects that you have. And I just want to reiterate how you prospect is really personalized and custom to you. And I think, as you can see from some of the filters, you've got the capacity to support any which way that you like to prospect for your leads.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I like to go into content too, because I think content is king. And believe it or not, I love talking to those businesses that have a blog on their website, because if you have a blog on your website, you are constantly refreshing your site and Google loves you for that, right? It wants to deliver fresh, updated content. And so when people do this, that's strong. I can start talking about SEO with them. I could start asking them about, how are you using that blog, right? How many subscribers, how often, how do you deliver it? What keywords are you trying to rank for? The money question right there. And that's where some of these businesses kind of look at you deer in the headlights and they don't know what you're talking about. And if that happens, then whoa, it's a whole other conversation that we can start having. But see, the conversations we want to have, it's all really predicated on what solutions can I introduce with that engagement, right? And so once people start to get good with this or get consistent with this, as I said before, then everything really starts to go downhill. It's about building that targeted list. And, I gave you a little peek at the categories before, but, we have a lot of categories. We get them from, this is our data here from a category standpoint, But if I wanted contractors, and I can use that handy little search bar, I'm so glad we implemented this. And it's not a line by line exercise anymore. Contractors of all kinds, from A to Z, from primary categories to secondary categories, we've got them. So let's select them all in the state of Texas. And I've built a nice little list of 120 prospects that are spending some serious money here. They believe in video, which is great. That opens the door for me to introduce more solutions to sell. I have an execution problem, so I could put my cape on and start talking about that, or even use that as my valid business reason. And of course, with the blog, ooh, gosh, we could do so much there to introduce other solutions that I might not have been able to introduce here in this area. Okay, content marketing, SEO, all kinds of stuff. So here we have that, and it's about hitting find, and still in my database. I haven't added anything into BuzzBoard yet, but what we've done is we've taken 120 of these prospects from the millions in our database. We've put them front and center on the top shelf. And as soon as I start clicking on add, then that's when we're essentially dusting it off. I'm going to hit done here. And in real time, we're going to add that business as a profile. And so as we prospect, then we add them, they turn them into profiles. And it's right here as I go, and let me click in on profiles so that I can show you in real time that P stands for pending. It takes about 45 to 90 seconds for us to come in and generate a profile. But that is us tapping into all our different data sources so that we can bring you a holistic view of this business from top to bottom. We're looking at the digital marketing spectrum. Okay. So let's take a look at these guys, because I'm always up for some pancakes, right? This is a place in Fresno. I added them the other day. It's called Batter Up Pancakes. And as we start looking at that digital marketing spectrum, what we want to do at BuzzBoard, obviously, is we want to score these businesses just like school from from 0 to 100, right? And we call this that E score, that digital marketing health score, D score. Okay, however you want to phrase it. I've heard Buzz score. I mean, it's interesting to me to hear how different people kind of position this to their prospects. But I call it a health score. It's a digital marketing score, right? And what we're doing is by illustrated on this graph, we're taking the key segments of the digital marketing spectrum, we're scoring them out, so that we can come up with that overall digital health score. But what BuzzBoard is doing right off the bat is, from an AI standpoint, is we are giving you this AI generated summary to give me further context. Now, remember, we filtered a certain way, so we have that context already, including a VBR, right? So as I go down, now BuzzBoard is giving me assets to start leveraging right away. And I know that companies pay top dollar for a SWOT analysis, but hey, we just built one in seconds for them. And we can now start talking to them about, hey, listen, I did some research on businesses just like yours. Got a SWOT analysis that I'd love to share with you, right? Let's talk about some of the successes, right? Some of your strengths here, but the threats, this is something that I'd love to talk to you about as well. And by the way, we can have a competitive line here to make sure that we're, furthering this point. Why don't you give me your top 3 competitors, and let's see what they're doing to increase their market share and generate revenue in the marketplace. Let's learn from them. Let's see what success looks like for them. And that's kind of how I started positioning it. That little sense of urgency to really demonstrate that I was coming with the goods, right? And for me, quite frankly, I felt a little uncomfortable saying, hey, listen, I see that you don't do, or I realize that you don't have, or why did you stop doing? And that was kind of like calling their baby ugly. So taking the focus away from them for a second and really keying in on their competitors, that's where it got really interesting for me, because now the pressure was off. It was just a matter of coming in, and this will look a little familiar for us, right? This little top line. Now I can come in and I can start literally typing in the names of the competitors that Batter Up Pancakes may have given me, right? And so, yeah, we're going to get a lot of businesses from our database, but we can really, really narrow that down in a huge way by giving them the business exactly what they're looking for. Okay. So let me go back into, sorry about that. Let me go back into my profiles and show you a good example of what that looks like. I believe it was this outfit here out of Santa Fe, New Mexico, not too far away from me. As I look at these competitors, want to say it was them. Yep, it was them. We added a competitor here. So as I add competitors into the mix, BuzzBoard's always, it's also giving me an AI generated analysis on that competitor. So it gives me a comparative analysis and some suggestions as to how I should go about my business here and my engagement and how I want to talk to them. And that's always really strong. And of course, we can always come in and we can start downloading reports like this one here. I can download that competitive report for my prospect and kind of use that as the carrot at the end of the stick, right? You like to dangle that and say, when you become my client, I'm going to do this for you every month. I'm going to give you an updated competitive analysis so that we can continue to keep track, right? We want to keep tabs on these people here while we monitor growth here from top to bottom. And this is a really good way to, this is a good piece to introduce into your QBRs with some of your current clients as well, running competitive analyses for them. As I go into the details and even the summary, speaking of reports, that's one of the things that I know I leaned on in a huge way. And this is something that we've absolutely maximized here. So when we start looking at this business overview report, oh my gosh, this is kind of like a game changer, right? Because we have our Google Ads report, our competitive analysis. We can select them all and download a nice zip file of all of this. And if you get a trial, by the way, yeah, these features are absolutely available to you. I highly recommend that you take advantage of it, because once we start downloading that business profile report, especially, gosh, I'm really in love with that one. In a second here, I'll show you what that looks like. But once that downloads in real time, we're going to be able to show you some really nice information, and it can be customized to your look and feel when you become a BuzzBoard partner. And see, it looks like I'm still, here we go. Yeah, so here's Life Healing Center of Santa Fe. As I move through, we've got our table of contents, we've got our business summary. Here's that digital score of that business. And what I really like is this customer analysis. I mean, from segmentation to buying behavior to customer needs, preferences, and customer value preferences or propositions, excuse me. We have different pieces of content that lead to something else, right? SWOT analysis, there that is. Here's that graph. I really like the fact that we include that in so that we can be holistic in our approach. We want to differentiate ourselves. And that was really big for me back when I used BuzzBoard in the field and tested it out. I wanted to make sure that I was differentiating myself from everybody else out there that were trying to have the same conversation. This graph alone would allow me to say something along the lines of, hey, listen, here at company X, wherever you're coming from, we have to look at you holistically. I can't just concentrate on one specific area. That's what everybody else tries to do. But I can't take your money here and drive leads to a site or to a landing page if we're giving the customer or the consumer a bad experience. And that's why we have to look at you holistically. So in order for me to help you get the ROI that you're looking for, in order for me to help you grow your business, I have to look at the key segments of the digital marketing spectrum, score them out so that I can come up with that overall digital health score. Okay. And the digital state analysis. So there's really good information here as we move forward along that digital marketing spectrum and how we scored each area and the analysis that we're providing. Okay. And here's that competitive piece. Love this. I love the way that looks and feels. And then of course, this recommendation area is, to me, it's really simplified. Here's what we found. So the so what is, okay, so this is why it's important, kind of the why, and now what? This is what we want to do to help you grow or to help you solve, or fix. And what I really like about this, David, is that it takes us from being sellers to consultants. Okay, from
Absolutely.
sellers to consultants.
You're the consultant or the
So
trusted
that's how I
advisor.
use BuzzBoard. Yeah, absolutely. A trusted advisor. Exactly.
Yep.
And that is kind of a 1-2 combination of how I started using BuzzBoard initially. I wanted to make sure that I was really good at that prospecting. And once I developed that list, that targeted list, what I wanted to do was I wanted to hit save, okay, because I could save my list here and I can say sample demo super, because I'm always running out of names. I'm sure I have sample demo somewhere. Hit continue. And once I've successfully added that, then I'm going to be able to go to any saved search that I have right up here, saved searches. And I can also get that from my home screen as well. We have a card that allows me to look at that. But once I get into my saved searches, here's super sample demo. So I'm going to take a look at that. I'm going to preview it. I know what I filtered for now when I'm previewing. I can add an extra layer here if I wanted to, and then save off a different list or an added element within my filtered criteria. But if I want to just go to the same list, I'm going to hit find again. And now I'm moving. So my goal in my old life was to make sure that I did this once a week, built my list. And then every day from here on out, I'm going to go to that list. I'm going to add at least 5 to 10 businesses so that I could set myself up and always have access to a qualified lead. Always have access to a qualified lead. And David, as you know, we do sync with Salesforce, HubSpot, Zendesk,
Yep.
so that we can duplicate our efforts here. If I wanted to add in heavy construction and I was synced to Salesforce, clicking on add right here would give me a specific pop-up where now we're going to grade it against or compare it against the CRM to see if the record's already in there. And we'll have the opportunity to amend that current record or add a new record if it's not already there. But this helps reduce a lot of time.
And of course, we have the Chrome extension, which integrates a BuzzBoard widget into Chrome. So if you approach this from a web browser, you find a website for a potential prospect and they look good and you want to see what BuzzBoard has to say about that through the Chrome extension, it's, point and click simple.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because see, when I was using BuzzBoard almost 10 years ago now, we didn't have the Chrome extension yet. So I was happy, really happy that it came into existence, but I really wish I could have had it to leverage, because see, back in my old life, if I was to go to a prospect now and that prospect thought, well, what does this guy know? He's coming in from print, right? That was my old life. 10 years ago, print was a completely different animal. Well, if they had a thought in their mind that I didn't know what digital was, then all I had to do was click on this and it was going to allow me, and I'll log in here, but it was going to allow me to very quickly come in and have access to their business, right? All these terrific insights across the digital marketing spectrum as I go through, complete with AI generated content as well. And without leaving a website, I'm able to determine, are you running Google? Yep, I filtered for that. Here's an example of that ad. Display, here's an example of that ad. Are you running Facebook ads? Yep, you are. I could click on that 130 to look at the content to see what they're trying to put out there. And I know that with every little insight that I have available to me, and here's their ad library in real time, I can come in and take a look. Are they sponsored ads? What kind of posts are they? Do they believe in video? Here's a video. So that's great. That's going to allow me to do a lot of different things. But from top to bottom, I have the opportunity to come in and start taking a look at what they're doing. One of my favorite areas, as I mentioned before, and I filter for it, this is why, is once I click on that little check mark and look at Green Mountain Energy, now I can get a better understanding of how is this making you money? I can ask that question. How is this making you money? I love your content, okay? And if we go to your videos and we can start looking at some of the latest videos that you have here, this was 2 months ago, you only had 88. But that was 142,000, 362,000. Interesting to me, right? Did they stop promoting them? Did they stop boosting them? That was 2 months ago. All right, so that's allowing me to now ask specific questions. It's also at 2:45, so I know I'm not seeing 30s. Here's 15:15, so maybe that was broadcast. Okay, maybe they were recycling some of that and just dumping it onto their website. Here's a 30, here's a 31. So I'm looking at potential broadcast here, but some of the longer form videos do really, really well with YouTube, right? Because where do we go to learn? YouTube. This is exactly where we go. But now I can have a really great conversation with them. And again, it's about maximizing what I have to offer to make them successful, both within the confines of this platform and outside of it. So yeah, that's David, in a nutshell, that's how I use the platform. What's a 1-2 punch? I want to make sure that I'm prospecting, leveraging the data that I have available to me in such a way where I can have better conversations as I identify these customers. It's about coming in and looking at great engagement opportunities, using that generative AI to help me with that engagement, right? And then of course, we definitely want to start closing these people and really, really communicating and engaging, right? So we have different ways of doing that. Here's our content section. This is going to allow me to start leveraging that SWOT analysis or some of these other cues that we have available to us that can be downloaded, regenerated, copied to a clipboard, emails, conversation starters. This is an area that's going to continue to grow. So we're really, really excited about that.
Yeah, Philip, can you just scroll down? There's an important point that we keep hearing about. Those click on the cues. There's like 4 buttons there that people can click. So this is one click, like push button use of generative artificial intelligence. If you have been or you've tried struggling with a chat-based interface to AI, and you're trying to get the output that you want, and you're trying to learn how to design a prompt or write very long prompts, some people might be reminded in the early days of Google or when they first started using Google. It's very powerful, but to get the most out of it, you need to write a very complicated, long search string. The chatbots are very much the same. To really get the most out of it in a chatbot, you really have to get proficient at writing long, sophisticated prompts. In this type of embedded or wrapped generative AI application, it's push button simplicity. You just click on it, and you don't need to learn prompt design. So many of our customers have found value in that, and they're not spending time, designing complicated prompts.
And keeping it closed, right? It's a closed environment, so it's safe.
Yeah.
So we should never have to worry about somebody going off the grid and doing something else and typing in something else in that prompt field, right? And the context behind what we did here is we went back to our partners and we asked them, hey, what's important to you? We whiteboarded a lot of this stuff. What do you want to know? What do you need to have in order to move forward in a faster way or a more impactful way with your prospects? And all we did here at BuzzBoard was we synthesized a lot of that feedback. We presented to you here. And earlier I just clicked on, hey, present some ideas for improving the prospects' businesses that I can discuss with them. And here we have it. Present these ideas, right? And BuzzBoard gave us several different options to work with. Okay. And the beauty behind this is that once we integrate your product set, okay, so our current customers that are using this have given us their current product set, and we've absolutely integrated that into the output here. So if I'm saying present ideas, or if I'm coming into my conversation starters here, and it gave me automatically conversation starters, give me conversation starters to discuss how our products and services can help, well, then you're going to see those products and services weaved into the content here, okay? And they can be specific to you. So that is something that we absolutely customize for our partners. And if and when you come on board, this is something that we'll be able to do for you as well. And everything's available for quick download. And as I download this PDF, this is what it's going to look like as it makes its way to my downloads box or my downloads folder. Eventually here, business overview report still there. That's okay. But momentarily it'll come just like that business overview report. And once we have that, then we'll be able to view it as we did. There we go. The business overview report. A little
Hey,
slow
Philip, sorry to interject.
on
Yes,
my
sorry to
side.
interject, Philip.
It's
Well,
resuming, but that's okay.
yeah, sorry, Philip. And for those watching the recording, there seems to be a little bit of a lag today, so it's hard for Philip to hear me. But Kevin posed a question: can you identify other vendors beyond Google and YouTube and advertising profiles, meaning their host is GoDaddy or Six, or if they have form software or call tracking software, or their CRM is based on the code of their site? I think we do have some of that in the filters, don't we? We glean a lot from looking at their website and analyzing the HTML.
Yeah, absolutely. So as this slowly loads, and I think now there's a connectivity on my end. I could be responsible for that lag, but yeah, as we come in and we start filtering, one of the areas that I always recommend people get familiar with is this technology area here. Technology. So as I open up my technologies, yeah, I mean, we have the ability to come in and look at, you know, CMSs. If I'm going to go look at a CMS, here are some of the content management systems that we're tracking here at BuzzBoard. Okay, so we want to find, right now we've got them all checked off, but if I only wanted Haibu customers, or if I wanted to just talk to specific ones, right, then we could absolutely uncheck them all and only check the ones that we really want to see. So if we wanted to have specific narrowed down conversations and prospect that way, we absolutely can. And that's just one example. CRMs, same thing. I mean, if I were to toggle over to CRMs, then this gives us a better idea of what we're looking at from a CRM standpoint. So as we look at the content or at the technologies here, then yes, the digger you deep, the more granular we can absolutely start to get. One area that I know a lot of our customers like to look at are DSPs, demand side platforms, to see what programmatic shops people are looking at or working with. And here's Simplify. We have several partners that really want to know who's working with them, right? Or the trade desk or somebody else like that. So yeah, we have a way to get very granular with that. It's a matter of coming in and just looking at these specific areas and choosing how you want to filter. You can get extremely granular, or you can kind of take a 10,000 feet view above the cloud, so to speak. And, you know, again, it's just how you want to handle it.
So Kevin, I hope that was responsive to your question. As you can see, there's lots and lots of filters. You know, Philip mentioned the categories. We have a really advanced micro-classification system for business categories that goes way beyond what NAIC codes, for example, offer. So I think a little bit of it starts with having a good, clear sense of your customer profile. You know, sort of what platforms they use. You know, are they Google people? Are they YouTube people? Are they Facebook people? And then once you have that, then it's pretty quick to get down into the filters and then filter just based on those parameters that you're looking for. You don't need to get lost in the weeds of all the different selects that you see here.
Yeah, and I do recommend that, you know, to get more granular, even with the questions on this call or on this video, you know, book a demo, book a personalized one-on-one so that we can start learning your ICP, so that we can start identifying, you know, and answering questions specific to your business and what you're trying to accomplish, and then get into a trial. I mean, I think that's just the best way of going about it, so that, you know, you can take it for a spin, take it for a test drive, and start letting it work for you. I would say that anybody that signs up with the trial has the full version of BuzzBoard. It's not BuzzBoard Lite. You're not limited in any way. And then, of course, once businesses become our partners, then we're able to start doing more customization as far as white labeling, putting your logos on stuff, and on reporting and things like that.
Excellent. Well, we're about 42 minutes in. I'll throw it out to the audience if anybody else has a question they'd like to ask. Otherwise, maybe Philip, we move towards wrapping up this week's webinar.
Good deal. Yeah. Thanks for having me, David.
Yeah, thank you so much, Philip. So again, lots of options for you. If you would like, as Philip mentioned, if you'd like a one-on-one specific demonstration where we can drill down into the specifics of your business and narrow the demonstration of the selects, the features, the capacities of BuzzBoard to your business, we'll be happy to do that. It's on the website at www.buzzboard.ai. If you're a hands-on person ready to jump in and get right to it yourself, same website, up in the top right-hand corner, there's a free trial, no credit card needed, full feature version of BuzzBoard. It's all there for you. And once you get in as well, it's also an option to have some white gloves treatment from our customer success team to get you onboarded even in the free trial, get you up to running and being productive. There you go. That's it. That's it. No credit card needed. All right. Thanks everybody for watching and joining. Philip, thank you for an excellent demonstration as always, and hope everybody stays tuned. We continue the webinar series and offer you insights into the database that we have, 30 million small and mid-sized local businesses. Thanks again, everybody.
Bye, everybody.